Hello there, listeners. It's Lisa Starr in Win Business back with another episode of StarrCast. So it's late May, which means every year that we turn our thoughts to an event that is happening next month. And I thought this is the perfect time to invite someone near and dear to that event to join us on the podcast. I'm talking about Global Wellness Day, and you must know about that if you know anything about wellness. And we're lucky enough today to have the founder, Belgin Aksoy, joining us from Istanbul. So welcome, Belgin. Thank you again for being here.
Hello, Lisa. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me today.
Well, it's a pleasure to see you as always. We don't get to see each other enough, a few times a year as we cross the globe. One of my fondest memories of you, Belgin, was being at the Comfort Zone event where you got up on stage and made a beautiful presentation in Italian. So talented. So anyway, before we get
I had
into,
forgotten about that.
you'd forgotten about that? Very impressive, all of your languages.
Thank you. Thank you.
Before we get into the nuts and bolts of Global Wellness Day, I thought we should dig a little bit into your history. When I met you, I think it was probably at the Istanbul Global Wellness Summit, which was a long time ago, and I visited your family hotel, Richmond Nua, spectacular in the suburbs of Istanbul. So you grew up into a hospitality business. So tell me more about that.
Well, ever since I was a child, I was drawn to environments that brought people together in positive and uplifting ways. And growing up in a family involved in the hospitality industry, I witnessed firsthand the power of service and human connection. And my journey into the industry began in the summer of 1990 when I was still in high school. And I started as a receptionist, eager to learn and grow. And then later I pursued hospitality management studies in Switzerland, where I deemed my understanding of creating experiences that leave a lasting emotional imprint. And over time, my passion evolved into a purpose. And in 2004, I was honored to be part of the founding team behind Turkey's, with the new name, first destination spa, Richmond Nua Wellness Spa, like you mentioned. And it was a milestone in my career and the beginning of a chapter where wellness became the core of everything I did and I do.
Well, it seems to be that you also live a wellness lifestyle if one follows you on Instagram as I do. And you're always, being healthy, doing healthy things. Was that something you grew up with as well?
It wasn't the case until 2004. I have to say, I did live a healthy lifestyle, but it was not at the core of my life. I didn't have the mindfulness about health and wellness until 2004, where I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. That actually changed my whole life and the way
I
I
would
look at
think
health
so.
and the importance of health and being cured and having my treatment, and then afterwards changing a lot of things that I do, actually changing my relationship with life has changed a lot in my life,
Mhm.
and also I think it also changed the people around me, and that's actually how Global Wellness Day was born.
Hmm. So, when you had your diagnosis and went through your treatments, were you instructed by your team to change these things, or did you do that on your own? I mean, I'm asking because in 2004, the learning around how you take care of your body wasn't as clear as it is now.
Well, my doctor told me that because I had a total thyroidectomy, which means I have no thyroid at all, I have to use a substitute for it, a medicine for all my life. And my doctor said, using this medicine, your mood might not be the same every day because it's a synthetic uh, medicine that you're taking, so your body is not doing its job naturally because there is no thyroid. So he said, like you might get a little bit chubby and you might feel depressed. So, don't worry about it. I will give you something to make you feel better. And I was like, something to make me feel better. You mean like an antidepressant or something like that? And then he said, yes, don't worry about it. It's going to be a light one. I give it to all my patients. It's good for you. And I was like, what can I do not to take it? And he said, well, there's not much that you can do because you would have to do everything 3 times more than a person with a thyroid. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, you need to watch out what you eat. You need to like measure every single thing that you're eating, and you need to do twice the cardio that a person with thyroid would do. And it's like, then that would be too much stress on your body that at the end you would need the antidepressant. So he's like, don't even bother, don't go there, just take this and chill.
What that is like, don't do all those things, just take a pill, right? What?
Exactly. And I said, no, I cannot do this. And so just like he said, I started measuring all my meals, and I became like a gym rat, as they call it, which was not normal. I exaggerated everything. Like he said, yes, I did take it to the core of my life. Like I will be healthy. And when you are too stressed about it, then of course it's not good for you. Yeah, so I went through these ups and downs of trying to find my balance of what really being healthy means and what really wellness means, from, like I said, exaggerating like this, then to finding my rhythm of it's okay if I don't exercise today. It's okay if I had a little bit of something that I shouldn't have. Because, obviously we are all human beings and we cannot be that rigid and strict because we have feelings. We're not
It's
just
not
made out
fun.
of our, exactly. We're not just made out of our physical body. So yeah, the physical, emotional, spiritual balance that we all talk about, I literally lived it through myself, and so happy that I found my balance.
So how long did it take you to get on that routine and feel healthy? And did you manage it without the medicine, or do you need less medicine as a result?
Well, I did not take any antidepressant in my life.
Good.
Never. I am taking my, of course, thyroid medicine. I have to. I've been taking it since 2004, and I will take it all my life. There is the side effects of the pill, obviously, your hair, your nails. And yes, it's true that, for example, when you wake up in the morning, your body knows how much of thyroid hormone it should release. So some days it's less, some days it's more. So it regulates naturally. But for me, since I take it only with a pill that is either 150 milligrams or 125 milligrams, maybe that day I need more. Maybe I need less.
Can you
I
tell?
don't know. I don't know. That's why my mood fluctuates. But not now, since many years, I know how to deal with it. I don't fall into the trap and think, oh, why am I feeling down? What is wrong with me? I know it's the medicine that is making these fluctuations. So if I'm feeling a bit low, I make sure I go for a walk, or I do something that is going to put me in a good mood. Or sometimes I'm extremely active that I'm like trying to calm myself down. So yeah, now I know how to live with it. I made friends with it, and there's nothing I can do to change it. I cannot, go to the market and get some thyroid and put it back there. It's not there, period. But I never accepted the fact that, oh, I have no thyroid hormone, that's why I'm fat, or that's why I'm depressed and using these antidepressants, or that's why I just did not want to accept anything that this disease that I had was going to put me in a box or like, put borders around me. I cannot do this, I cannot do that. So yeah, now I have my freedom, and I am actually thankful to the universe that it happened to me at that age. I was 29 years old. First of all, it made me realize a lot of things, personally. It made me a better person in every way. And then, of course, Global Wellness Day was born. So many people across the globe has let's say, many people's life has changed and keep changing. So, I always believe like everything happens for a reason in life. So I was able to see the positive side of it, even though, of course, when it was first told to me, there was like a moment of like, oh, why is it happening to me? Why me? Of course, it's not like from 1 minute to the other, you go like, oh, okay, thank you very much, universe, for giving me this. And now of course, it doesn't work that way. But, let's say it didn't take me too long to realize that all this was happening for a reason.
Well, you have used that learning in a very positive way. And anyone who has seen you or seen you on social can attest to the fact that you're not chubby, and you have done well in your wellness journey. So this is 2004, and you're creative director of Richmond NUA, and everything's going great, and you have this diagnosis. You come out on the other side. Tell us what led you to think about, okay, how can I take what I've learned and make a movement out of it?
I actually did not think about making a movement out of it. I wanted to thank the universe for giving me my health back. But before that, if I step back, so this happened in 2004, and after feeling better, like a few months after my diagnosis, I started to hear this voice. And it's not inner voice. It's not like, we know what our inner voices are like. We know how it sounds. It's our voice talking to us. Instead, it was this woman that I don't know. It's the first time I hear this voice, was telling me, what are you going to do for the world? It sounds crazy, but it was like a calling, and or not like a calling. It was a calling, and it kept repeating. What are you going to do for the world? What are you going to do for the world? And my first instinct was that, okay, I'm just losing my mind. First of all, that's what I thought. And I said, let me not tell anybody that this is happening to me, because they're going to think like, okay, I finally lost it. So I kept it to myself, and I thought, it's going to go away. And it didn't go away. So I kept on asking. And at the end, I said, what can I do? And you're talking about the world. The world is so big
place.
and I'm only one person. And what can I possibly do for the world? And so this voice was not stopping. So I just wrote Global Wellness Day on Google.
That phrase just came to you and you typed it in.
Thinking that for sure a day dedicated to wellness exists in the world. And I just wanted to get an idea of, what can I do for wellness? Because now that I found my wellness, what can I do for the wellness for the world? Global Wellness Day. And nothing came up. And I was shocked. I was shocked. If not anywhere, I thought in the US there would be a day dedicated to wellness. With all these days that already exist.
There's a day for cats and this and that, and your secretary.
Some days that for the things that we value, and some not that we value it that much. Sweatpants day and pizza day. So to my surprise, there was no such day. And then, in a very modest thinking, I said, okay, then why don't we just organize a Wellness Day event at Richmond NUA? So, some hotel guests and some of our guests, some of my friends can come all together and we can spend a day. And I chose the day totally thinking of the hotel and of myself and, Istanbul. And, I thought, June, it should be second week of June so that it's not too hot, it's not raining. The most of the families did not leave Istanbul yet because the schools are just closing. So I was like, I wasn't thinking global,
Sure.
international at all. So actually, the first year it was the second Sunday of June. And then afterwards, we changed it to second Saturday because I realized Sunday is more for people who want to spend it with their families. And they do not want to go to an event. So that's actually why it's in June, And then it was a very successful day. It was about 170 people, like I said, hotel guests and some of our private guests and some of my friends that just wanted to, say like, okay, what is she up to now? Like, let's just go and be with her and support her. There was a nutrition psychologist named Mark David that I invited from US, to my surprise, he accepted and he came and he gave a workshop, which was, very much, people were like very interestedly listening. There was obviously yoga and Reiki and skincare workshops and cooking workshops, juicing. It was like we started at 10 until 5 o'clock. I think we had a little concert and it was beautiful.
Festival.
Yeah, it was beautiful. So I was like, okay, so I did it,
I did it.
Yeah, I gave the voice what it was asking me.
I
It's
ticked
not
that
for the
box.
world, but we had some international guests in the hotel. So I thought, well, that's gonna do it. But yeah, it did not.
But why? What happened next?
Well, because it kept on talking. The voice did not stop.
Oh.
And I realized that, the calling is asking for more. And actually, on that day, seeing how successful it was, and I remember two women when they were leaving the event. I was at the door, saying bye to everyone. And one woman came and she said, I'm just so grateful for this day that you organized. She was like, you changed something in my life today. I was like, really? Like,
That's
what?
wonderful.
Wow. And she said, well, she said, I thought yoga was for the young and the fit. She was about like 60, 65 years old and not the most fit person. She said, well, I tried yoga for the first time in my life today, and I realized that you don't have to be young and fit for that. And she said, I'm going to start practicing yoga from now on. I was like, wow. And then there was another lady who said, well, it was very interesting. I'm going to change my habit. Which habit? I said. And she said, now I have a very nice new habit that I'm going to start juicing in the mornings. And she said, I, joined to the juicing workshop. I thought it was something difficult to do and that the green juice would not taste good. But she said, it's actually fun to prepare it and it actually tastes so good. And, learning how good it is for my body, she said, from now on, I'm going to juice every morning. So that evening, that night when I was lying down in my bed and I said, okay, 170 people came today. Only if those two women say that do what they say and change their lives, I thought, of course, it's their life that is going to change because someone that starts practicing yoga is not going to stop there. Is going to have, she's going to add other good habits and maybe like leave bad habits. And the other one that starts juicing, for sure, she's going to start drinking less tea and coffee, and maybe she's going to start losing weight and moving more, and socially. She's going to be different, like her clothes are going to fit better. She's going to, look better in the mirror and feel better, have more self-confidence. And then maybe she's going to be more successful at work. So it's like all related. It's the chain reaction, and I don't know who they're going to influence. So I thought it's not just two people, because people are
Right.
going to ask them, oh,
How
something
was that day?
different with you,
Right. Right.
like you look different. What are you doing differently? And they're going to
Hmm.
start talking. So I realized, like, it's actually, it can be bigger than I thought. And then the second year, we invited some journalists from the US and some from Europe to come and visit Richmond, Noor, and Richmond, Istanbul. It did not have anything to do with Global Wellness Day. But we were going to do the Global Wellness Day event, and I also wanted to do a press trip for the American press. And I thought, well, if I do it, if I bring the press on the same day of Global Wellness Day, maybe it's going to be something different and fun for them.
Hmm.
Actually, Kim Marshall,
Hmm.
she was organizing the press trip. So they came, they stayed a few days in Istanbul, and the last day of their trip at Richmond was Global Wellness Day. And then
Perfect.
they left, and of course, all of this was done. The press trip was done with the budget of Richmond hotels.
Hmm.
So after 10, 15 days, and I'm hoping to see some, nice
Some
articles.
press.
Yes. And I'm seeing they wrote more about Global Wellness Day and less about Richmond. And I was like, oh my God, what did I do? I made such a huge mistake. I used the hotel's budget and invited these people, and they
And what
attended
they
Global Wellness,
remembered was
and
Global Wellness
they're
Day.
writing more about Global Wellness Day. But then, because there was all these articles, then it got the attention of Susie Alice,
Hmm.
and then she invited me to do a talk about Global Wellness Day at the Global Wellness Summit
Hmm.
in Morocco. And then there, I did that together with Sally Frankel.
Uh-huh.
That went very well. And then there was also a videographic competition within Global Wellness Summit, and I applied with a videography about Global Wellness Day, and that actually was the winner.
Mm.
So that was another reason why Global Wellness Day got the attention at the summit. So, and then I did the crazy thing of when I was up on the stage at the summit, I said, if you say yes to Global Wellness Day, please stand up. I don't know if you were in the room.
I'm sure I was.
And actually, that it was an idea given to me by Frank Pitsikalis.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh my God, what if I ask and nobody stands up? It's such an embarrassing, it would be such an
Sure.
embarrassing situation. But it was not the fact. The whole room stood up, and then
So
I
that's
asked.
where the paddles came from, right? I say yes.
Yes,
That's from that
yes,
idea.
exactly, exactly. And there I also asked, whoever wants to be Global Wednesday ambassador, please reach out to me. And then it was the end of summit, and there was a long, long line. And then I was at the plane coming back home with a deck of cards, all these people that were saying, I would like to be the ambassador for my country. Can you please send me what
Mm.
this means, the necessary information? And I was like,
And you're
again,
like, what? I don't have any information.
what did I do? Again, I'm like, oh, Belgin, you take these decisions without thinking too much. Because since, it's not a business, and I don't have a business plan. I don't have a team working for it. I don't have anything. It was just like the things that I said. And, and then I have all these people waiting for, okay, what does a Global Wednesday ambassador mean? And I'm like, I don't know. I need to figure it out.
We'll get back to you on that.
Yeah. So then it was 3 to 3.5 years of me traveling like a lunatic and throwing myself in front of anybody that I thought that would be influential on spreading Global Wellness Day, from famous people to business people to to Hollywood stars, to whoever I could just grab and, say, okay, help us. And I'm actually not that person. Like I'm not a person who asks for help in my private life. I would be really shy about that. But when it's about Global Wednesday, I can throw myself in front of anyone. I have no shame, nothing. I think also because, I know that I'm not asking anything for myself, and I know how much I'm asking and how much it's helping other people. So, no shyness, nothing. I threw myself in front of Richard Branson.
Mhm.
One day, even like, going over bodyguards on a day when there was this risk of a bomb in
Wow.
Istanbul, and Richard Branson was here for a conference. But yeah, the things that I did to get his attention, when I think back, I think I'm like, oh my God, I was crazy. But then
Yeah.
I also know
Yeah.
that whatever I have done, it's like it's as if like something pushed me to do it. I had to do it. I had to do it without planning, nothing. It had to be done. It is done. It is right there. So if you think about it, from 170 people to 170 countries um, in 14 years,
That's
and
exponential growth.
yes,
Exponential. You could
yes,
never have envisioned that, Belgin.
no way, no way.
So last year, after Global Wellness Day in June, you wrote a post about a billion. And I'm guessing that was how many people participated in some way or had
Not
over the years
participated, but how many people we were able to reach to.
to
That's not
reach.
1 billion people had actually celebrated
Hmm.
Wellness Day, but the reach was that, because yeah, I mean the media coverage all in the world is huge for Global Wellness Day.
Well, I love that you wrote that if we sat down and started counting to a billion, it would take us 45 years. I
Think
mean, look
about
what
that.
you made. Like
Yeah.
the movement, I mean, the timing was right, but you had the passion
Mm.
and you had the creativity to make it happen. So now 170 countries. Tell listeners a little bit about what it is, like in case someone doesn't know, what happens on Global Wellness Day. And I know it starts like when the sun comes up in Australia or somewhere even east of that.
Yeah, yeah. But before that, I would want to mention that, none of this would be possible without the people, without the amazing people that believed in the mission
Hmm.
and the vision of Global Wellness Day. At the beginning, people were a bit skeptical. They were like, why is she doing this? Or they would ask me, like, why are you doing this? And I would be like, I'm doing it for the universe. Yeah. And then it's like, yeah, I get that, but why are you doing it? I'm like, I just answered. I'm doing it for the universe. I'm doing it to thank the universe. So it took a while, but once people understood, then they embraced it in a way that really I cannot thank enough. We have a Global Wednesday family with Global Wednesday ambassadors and key supporters around the world, and they work for, of course, on a voluntary basis for Global Wellness Day throughout the year, not only on Global Wellness Day to organize the event, but throughout the year to spread wellness in their countries, to enhance the level of wellness in their countries, because it can mean a different thing in every country, even in every city, because the wellness level of even a neighborhood here in Istanbul can be different than another neighborhood in the same city. So there is not one way of celebrating Global Wellness Day. We only have a few rules, which are like, all the events have to be free of charge. And we ask brands to not to make any packages and discounts on Global Wellness Day. So because we do not want Global Wellness Day to become a commercial day like Valentine's Day or Mother's Day, which there's nothing wrong with those days, but
Hmm.
our first intention is always going and buying something for our loved ones. And
It's so
we
true.
don't want Global Wellness Day to become like that. So all the events have to be free of charge, no discounts on Global Wellness Day. And to print Global Wellness Day logo on any product is doable as long as it's given as a gift and it's not sold.
Okay,
So,
good.
so that's it. Other than that, sky is the limit to celebrate Global Wellness Day. And I love, like the post Global Wellness Day, seeing how creative people get across the globe, and how creative they get to answer and to enhance the wellness of the people that live in the area. Some do events for the elderly, some do events for the kids, some do for the environment. Obviously, any international hotel chain that you can think of do events for their guests, and most of them open their doors to people as well. And for example, the event that I'm going to go to in Thailand, which is going to be my 4th year this year attending them, but it's going to be their 8th year. Shuasom being celebrating their 30th year year. So one of the pioneers of the wellness industry as a destination spa. They could of course do an event only for their guests, but they do that, but they don't only do that, which is great. They take wellness outside of their doors and they bring it to the people in need. And also the fact that we've been underlying for a long time that wellness is not a luxury and that it's the inherent right of every individual. It's a sentence I've been saying for maybe 20 years now, even before Global Wellness Day. Because unfortunately, there's the misconception of wellness being only for the ones who can afford it, only for the elite. And that wellness means drinking green juice and doing yoga. And it's not.
There's so much more.
It's so much more than that. And there's nothing wrong with drinking green juice and doing yoga. If you have everything that you need for your wellness, and on top you're having your green juice and doing yoga, that's perfectly fine. But if you're in the Myanmar border, and if you have lice on your head, and if you don't have access to medicine, and if you have malnutrition, if you don't have shoes to wear, well then, and the fact that you cannot reach to green juice, that does not mean you cannot have wellness. Yes. You can.
That's a great distinction.
Right? Like by a brand like Shuasom, going 3.5 hours driving in the jungle to reach to those people, and including myself, with the volunteers coming together, cleaning the lice, bringing them the food supply, bringing them the medical aid, bringing people who can do acupuncture and physiotherapy. We spend a whole day with them and playing games with the kids. I mean, I have never seen kids this happy.
Oh, boy.
Anywhere that I go.
That's so wonderful.
With so little that they have, how much they're smiling, running around bare feet. When I can barely walk with my shoes on this ground that is full of rocks and mud. It makes you think, It makes you think. You're like, we're doing something wrong. Okay, something we need to think, stop and think. So yeah, I'm so glad I'm going to do that. But of course, this is not the only way to celebrate Global Wellness Day. Whereas at the same day, again, I think also for them, it's going to be the 4th year, Four Seasons Beverly Hills is going to celebrate Global Wellness Day. And of course, I don't expect them to clean lice from kids' heads. What they're going to do is they're going to do yoga at the helicopter pad with a celebrity alo yoga yogi.
Mm-hmm.
So talking about enhancing your wellness on Global Wellness Day, for the people that live in that area, that hotel is bringing this kind of a service on Global Wellness. They're saying, okay, let's do yoga at the helicopter pad with a alo yoga yogi.
Something they could never do on a day-to-day basis, for sure.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So it's very different. And I give you two extreme examples for your listeners to kind of picture and envision what it would look like. Or in Brazil, for many years, they're going to elderly people to the seniors' houses, and they play board games with them. They dance with them. They bring a group of hairdressers to the senior houses and fix their hairs, obviously, for free. And some of them don't want their hair fixed. They don't want to play board games. They don't want to dance. They just want to talk. They just want to have a conversation. So you also don't need a huge budget to celebrate Global Wellness Day. So, if a group of people comes together and goes to senior house on Global Wellness Day, just to sit down and have a chat, I think that's so precious.
Beautiful thing. And it's a great concept, just to be there for someone else.
Exactly. You give your time, which is one of the most precious things that we have, right? For the limited time that we have in this life. So so there are brands that, with a big budget, they, and with sponsors, they celebrate Global Wellness Day with like huge stages and with all these different brands coming together and organizing all these workshops and speakers, and which is wonderful. I love that too. But then I love the little things that they do there, or they do in schools. They organize. They ask kids to draw what wellness means to them, to elementary school students.
I'd love to see those pictures.
Right? And then they do an exhibition at the end of the year, which is usually around the time of Global Wellness Day. And then the families, come together and they see all these beautiful pictures that kids have drawn of what wellness means to them. So it's priceless. It's priceless how creative the supporters, the volunteers of Global Wellness Day can get, and I couldn't be happier, I think.
Would think so. I mean, think of how it's blossomed. I'm curious about the logistics of it at this point, Belgin. You had this idea, grew into a movement. It's global. You've impacted more than 1 billion people now. Certainly will surpass that this year. That takes a team and money and organization. I mean, so at some point, I guess that you had to create an organization, a formal organization. You have a website. Like, how does that work? I mean, is it a philanthropy effort on your part, or do you have sponsors? How does the whole thing continue to grow?
So we don't have a structure. We're not an association. We're not a foundation on purpose. I never wanted to be. I always believe that the world does not need another foundation or an association. I myself worked for the Turkish Heart Foundation as the general secretary and for a short period as the president. I know what a foundation is, and doesn't matter how transparent you try to be, there is always a thought from some people asking themselves, where is this money going? Unfortunately, it's a black hole. And I never wanted to put myself or the volunteers of Global Wellness Day under this spotlight.
Mm.
That's why I never touched money. I never made a penny out of Global Wellness Day, and I never will.
Mm.
And I'm doing everything in my power if I see someone that is trying to make money with Global Wellness Day. So I have to say I did spend a lot of money out of my pocket for Global Wellness Day, and I feel great about it. I could have done many other things. That's what I chose to do with my money. I keep on spending money for Global Wellness Day, and I love that. I love the fact that the universe has given me the chance to create something like Global Wellness Day and the chance to have the money to be able to spend it for it. So, and the sponsors, how it works is that, yeah, this is usually the question of many people. If you have sponsors, how do you not touch money? But it's like a barter that we do. So, if there's a stage in need, the company who is bringing the stage is bringing it, and we tell them that their brand can be on Global Wednesday t-shirts. We give them visibility with their logo, but we're not funded, and we're not funding, and like there's no funding. Yes, so
that's impressive, honestly, that you've managed to keep those two things separate. I commend you for that. And it's pure, it's more pure that way. It allows you to just focus on your mission and not satisfying financial obligations. At some point, you developed the 7-step manifest to Global Wellness Day, and that's on your site. What was behind that? What did you mean for that to supply for people?
I'm trying to remember where in the world that was, which country, but I remember we were at a breakfast, probably during the summit, and we were thinking of simple steps that we can put together to make it easy for the people to prepare themselves for the celebration of Global Wellness Day, but during the year, the steps that they can take so they can celebrate their Global Wellness Day individually without necessarily going to an event, saying like, okay, I start today and until Global Wellness Day, I continue these steps, and then it will be my celebration. I know that Deborah Zeke was with us. I know Kim Marshall was there. Probably Wendy was there. Maybe Sally Frankel. I cannot remember other names. But for example, don't use plastic bottles. I know that one came from Deborah Zeke.
Sure.
So yeah, we said, those steps can be so many of them. We tried not to put any with don't. The only don't is don't use plastic bottles. We wanted, for example, we didn't want to say don't smoke but
no, it focuses on the positive for sure.
On the positive, and we try to keep it as short as possible, and we try to keep it simple. For example, at the beginning it was eat organic, and then we thought, and then along the years we changed it to eat healthy, because organic means different things in different different countries. It can be very expensive. Whatever that is said as organic, you don't know if it's really organic. So we just kept it like eat healthy. We all know what that means, actually.
Yes. Yeah.
Somewhere in our mind, we know, even though we don't want to admit the fact that we know, and we like to complicate things, probably because our subconscious, is like, the more it's complicated, the more it's not doable, so that you can find an excuse to not to do it. But yeah, we said, eat healthy, drink more water. And we also wanted to think that with one step should lead the chain reaction should be at least 10, 15 different good habits, like drink more water. And we didn't want to say 2 liters, 2.5 liters, 1.5 liter, which is again, can be very different for different body types and lifestyles and temperature and all that. So, but we know that, like I said before, if you drink more water, you drink less carbonated drinks or tea or coffee, and you eat less actually, because most of the time we get confused between being thirsty and hungry.
Very true.
So, even though it's 7 steps, I think probably it's 77 or more steps,
right.
more positive things that we get into our lives. I'm thankful to that day that at least we had the idea of 7 steps, and then along the way we were able to decide on these 7 steps.
Well, it's really well done. And as you say, it's simple. It's things anyone can do, and it all leads to something else. I mean, you know that saying, a journey starts with the first step, right? So you do one, it leads to the other, which leads to where we are with wellness today. I have a few questions around that. One is that we have seen not competitors, but now there are other wellness events happening, whether it's for a short time or a month or this or that. I mean, how do you feel about that? Do you feel like it's competition for Global Wellness Day? I have a feeling I know what you'll say, but I had to ask.
No, I don't see it as competition at all, because I know the mission of Global Wellness Day. I always go back to that day when I heard the voice and what I wanted to do, with what kind of a thought, this all started, and all these people that supported it along the way. I see other days, which is good, but it cannot be a competitor, because our purposes are different, which is
aligned around wellness at the same time.
Yes. I mean, it is about wellness, but the idea and the mission and the vision is different. So yeah, I mean, as long as it touches people's lives and it helps people to live a better life, it's all good.
Okay.
But one thing that differentiates Global Wellness Day from all the other wellness related days is that Global Wellness Day is a 100% not profit.
And I love that, and it should stay that way, and it will under your stewardship for sure. So wellness is so much more in the news than it was in 2012 when you started this. Do you see it evolving differently in the next few years? Do you have a vision for what Global Wellness Day will look like, say, in 2030?
Well, I'm still waiting for the wellness, how do you call it? Ministry of Wellness.
Right.
Which, now in some countries it's starting, just like, Ministry of Health, there is in the countries across the globe. But we need Ministry of Wellness to really educate people about what it really means and what we can do to prevent illnesses, before we get sick. Preventive health can to nations by the governments that are going to appoint Ministry of Wellness that is going to educate the schools, the citizens, even the food in the country, the water in the country, sustainability, and a lot of things can be changed, especially if we start the education of wellness from kindergarten, not when you're an adult and you're like, something is wrong. What can I do differently? What kind of supplements can I get? And, another thing that I don't like, unfortunately, in our industry is that there are a lot of gadgets and supplements and this and that, again, it's about, consuming. It's about buying something. It's about, oh, I have to have this gadget. I have to. And, it's like the cosmetic industry, one cream and the other cream at the end, most of them are the same. Of course, there is like great technology behind it. But it does not mean that if you don't have the reach to the most expensive serum, for example,
Mhm.
that doesn't mean you're gonna have a bad skin. There are
Sure.
like so many other things that we can do. So it's the wrong education to think, I cannot have my wellness if I don't have this new, um, I don't know, watch to see my heartbeat and to see how much I drank water and all. Yeah, keep it simple. I'm a person of simplicity, and even eating, even drinking water is complicated today. People have
Mm.
so many questions of like, what kind of water shall I drink? When shall I drink it? How much shall I drink? Is it filtered water? Is it this? Is it that? Like, how about just drinking water?
Right. Start somewhere simple. I mean, probably we're the victims of too much information now, right? I
Yes.
mean, we've got the internet, we see wellness on Instagram and on Facebook and on TikTok, and it all looks great. And then you feel that thing, the paradox of choice, right? Like there's
Mhm.
so many options that you become frozen and you're not sure what
Mhm.
to do. And so I love that you brought it back to the simple steps. Just do one small thing and then it will lead to another thing.
Exactly. Just and be kind.
Mm.
We always forget about that. There's, one of the simple steps is
Do a good
to
deed.
do a good deed.
Mhm.
Um, and it doesn't have to be a huge thing. We don't have to like, open our wallets and give thousands of dollars to someone. It's like just how about just being kind to each other, first to ourselves, and not thinking that that's being selfish and that's like loving yourself too much. But we also forget about that. We sometimes we're too kind to others, but like very unkind to ourselves,
Mm.
very unfair to ourselves. We forget to tap ourselves on our shoulder and say, you did good, or give a hug to ourselves. But if we don't do that, how can we give it to our loved ones, to the people around us? So it all starts with us when we wake up in the morning to have the decision of, okay, it will be a joyful day. It might not be a happy day, but it will be a
Mhm.
joyful day. We should not let anyone to steal our joy from us. If we take the decision in the morning, nothing can change it. So the traffic cannot change it. Our colleagues cannot
No,
change it.
you're so
It can
right. It's how you react to the world around you that
exactly.
determines it, and that's our
Yeah.
choice.
Mm. And of
Well,
course, unhappiness is there, sadness is there. That's why I really want to underline that. I'm never the kind of person that says, "Oh, positivity, positivity, positivity," and that is too much. That's also, not healthy. I think it's totally perfectly
not
fine
realistic, maybe.
to be sad,
Hmm.
to cry or to be angry, because we're human beings. We need to accept sadness as much as we accept happiness and joy. So, of course, the social media, we're not posting our pictures crying or having a bad day. I'm not doing that too,
Hmm.
but that does not mean I don't have bad days, that I'm not crying, that I'm not sad, or angry or frustrated. Um, because thinking, especially with the new generation, or with young people, we're young as well, but like with the younger
Younger.
generation, uh, there is the misconception, they look at all these photos and they think, oh, it's like perfect, and like, everybody's life is just so good, and I am so miserable. So then they unfortunately, and I've been saying that for many years again, like the depression numbers are
Mhm.
skyrocketing. World loneliness, still a huge problem, and social media is definitely not helping that. We
I
have to
agree.
understand that, we all have ups and downs and good days and bad days, but that does not make it a bad life or a good life. It's just,
Hmm.
it can just be a bad day, and then tomorrow is another day.
I think the next movement we have to start will be posting pictures of ourselves in a bad moment or crying or
Why not?
sharing something
Start it.
that, you know,
I will support you.
100%, because we're seeing all these, in the beautiful places and this and that
Of
happened,
course.
and it's a moment in someone's life. But, when they add up over a day, you do think, oh, well, my life's not so interesting. But you're right. The realism is that we all have ups and downs. So,
Mm, mm.
well put, Belgin. Well, I want to thank you again for joining us, and
Thank
really
you.
even more so for what you've created, the
Thank you,
attention you've
Lisa.
brought to wellness around the world. It can't be understated. And what a wonderful legacy you have
Thank you.
created for yourself and the rest of us.
Thank you very much. And just to add, this year's theme is Reconnect Magenta. Every year we have a different theme.
Hmm.
And with Reconnect Magenta, we're inviting people around the world to reconnect, obviously, first with themselves, with their community, with the Mother Nature, with their longevity. And they can find all the information about what that means at www.globalwednesday.org. And they can find ready-to-print files to produce T-shirts or SAS paddles on the website. We try to make it as easy as possible for people to reach to Global Wednesday visual identity guideline and all that. So yeah, June 14th. And I'm also very excited that in Istanbul, the Bosphorus Bridge is going to be a magenta color on June
Wow.
14th. Yeah, after 14 years, like the government is doing something for it finally. Yeah,
Wonderful. I'm sure you'll get pictures of that. Well, I'm
yeah.
wearing magenta today in your honor. That's
Thank you.
doing
Thank you
my
very
bit.
much,
But
Lisa.
thank you again. It took a visionary philanthropist, but you have brought wellness around the world. So thank you again, Belgin. And we look
Thank you,
forward to June
Lisa.
14th.
Yes, one day can change your whole life. And I hope this year it's going to be your listeners' lives.
Me too. Thanks again, Belgin.
Thank you.